What is the worst thing a teacher has ever made you do? Geez, I've had so many very bad teachers. At boarding school, my roommate was too tired to go to class, and I was running a bit late. My roommate often skipped classes because she'd rather sleep. When I entered the classroom, my teacher looked angrily at me. "Teacher Op, where's roommate?" Me nervous, she says she's not feeling well. She was impatient and irritated, told me to go back, and dragged my roommate back to class. I felt it was embarrassing to stand there in the doorway, not allowed to just take a seat, and I was nervous to miss class, because I knew whatever I did my roommate wouldn't budge. An angel of a classmate then said she would go with me to talk to my roommate. Long story short, as an adult I feel it was so unfair to put a 15-year-old through that. She was my roommate, I wasn't her freaking mother. I'm still friends with my former roommate today, and she's been diagnosed with narcolepsy. I had crippling anxiety and OCD, and would have panic attacks in class, which would result in me being in tears with my head down. My teacher was convinced nothing was wrong with me, and chose me to read aloud in front of class during a breakdown. I was 10 years old. Decades later, this moment has baffled me. They all thought I needed to toughen up, my teachers and parents included. Today, I'm a psychologist. Life comes full circle, man. But still, fuck that teacher. You have anxiety? Come on, don't be shy. Obviously. So you did toughen up, and it fixed everything. Great. No, I did, however, find effective ways to treat my mental illness. Made me make up with that one kid I really hated, well, only one of the, like, 6, but anyways. We had to shake hands and say I'm sorry, other person I'm sorry, Miko I forgive you, other person I forgive you, Miko. Or that time our history teacher didn't let us read in class, even thought we got too much time for the work we had. So, for instance, we had half an hour to do a test. If I finished it in 10, I had to sit there, with nothing to do, for 20 minutes. In middle school, it was only made worse, because I think I was her favorite student, yet she was my most hated teacher. That's even worse than a mutual hatred. I was at a PE class outside once, we were all sitting on the ground listening to him talk or something, and he thought I was talking to someone I wasn't, so he full force kicked a rugby ball at me and it hit me square in the stomach and badly winded me, so he made me stop breathing for about a minute. I always hated him for this, a grown man doing something like that to a 11, 12-year-old kid, but this was the mid-90s, so nothing I could have done. I'm still hoping to run into him at some point, so I can return the favor into his 80-year-old body. Had a gymnastics teacher basically treat me like I was being a wimp when I twisted a muscle in my back doing the routine, and couldn't really move, because I was in pain. My mom was surprised to find me bawling my eyes out upon pickup, and incensed after asking why I didn't call. We never went back. Said muscle still hurts on occasion. I'm still utterly befuddled as to why they did not give me a phone. It wasn't the first time something like this had happened either, as we learned quickly. I have medical issues that cause me to have a hard time in PE, so I have a note saying I don't have to do it. This substitute teacher didn't believe me when I told her I had a note, so she threatened to give me detention. She said I would get a detention after 3 warnings from her. Around the 2nd warning, the class was over, so I ran out before she could issue a 3rd. Probably the worst substitute teacher I've ever had. In Catholic school in 4th grade, I wasn't getting it when they told me abortion was wrong. I ended up watching the silent scream in a closet by myself. I told them I got it now, but really I didn't. I maintained the stance of pro-choice through my college years. I'm pro-life now, interestingly enough, but to think that they would show that to a 10-year-old for disagreeing with an opinion is disturbing. 1st grade substitute teacher told me my drawing wasn't neat enough, so she ripped it apart and told the class about it as she did then made me do it all over again. Or my algebra teacher who made the whole class do a 40-page pocket that wasn't printed well enough to read any of the problems, still failed everyone who didn't do the problems they couldn't see, and totally trashed my grades. I was very quiet and shy in high school, horrible social anxiety too. I wrote the best essay on a given topic and the teacher made me read in front of my whole class. It felt like I was dying slowly with every word I had to pronounce with my shaky voice. Did I mention the essay was about my personal experience that I did not want any of my peers to ever find out? Substitute gym teacher made me keep running laps after I broke my arm in class. A classmate tripped me up and I fell into a wall. I suffered a hairline fracture on my right ulnar. Sub through I was just trying to get out of running laps, grabbed me by the nape of my neck and forced me to run while cradling my arm. Sophomore year of high school, my PE teacher made me and only me practice volleyball by myself by bumping a volleyball against the gym wall repeatedly as the rest of my classmates played volleyball behind me. She thought I wasn't participating enough and that somehow having me solo practice in front of everyone would fix everything. I had an English teacher in high school make me and a buddy redo an assignment that we forgot to turn in. We both did the assignment sitting in her classroom during lunch and she gave us both 0 when we turned them in. That was a weird power move. I hope it was satisfying, Mrs. Pixton. I skipped the post-pair shower in middle school because I was stuck putting equipment away. Teacher saw me with dry hair and gave me after school detention where I had to take a shower in front of him. This was early 80s. There'd be a CNN news crew if it happened today, I'm sure. Force me to eat a large chunk of rubbery meat that another child had already half chewed up and thrown onto the floor under my seat. I clearly remember screaming and refusing for what must have been half the afternoon. I was 6. I had some serious learning disabilities around reading. Teacher insisted making me read out loud in front of the class at every opportunity would cure that, because all I had to do was want it and apply myself, like I did in math. Once cut my head open on a desk before the lesson started and I need to go R&D, but she kept me in for 10 minutes on the grounds it wasn't serious enough that blood was pouring from my head. Some teachers are so dumb. 7th grade English. We all had to write a song and sing it in front of our class. Absolutely mortifying. I'm 10 plus years post high school graduation and everyone who had that class still remembers the trauma. Trying to force me to go to a field trip. I had to go to the hospital that day and she didn't believe me. My mom had to go to the school district about what happened. My teacher stopped bothering me after that incident. Stay behind because I was eating my lunch too slowly. Not even kidding. She made other kids stay behind for it too. She got pulled in the office for it by the headmaster, which was satisfying. Made me write a test without a table or a pencil, joked I should write with my blood, then didn't grade it because it is messy and crumbled. Same teacher slapped me in 5th grade. Our teacher made the whole class sit out recess because 2 girls wouldn't stop talking when she said to stop. Did I mention this was in the 3rd grade? The whole class was punished, so we had to line up at the hallway to stand there for hours. We were wearing long sleeves and the temperature was hot. Eat a Vegemite sandwich. Wrong lunch and the old cow still made me eat it instead of finding my brother and swapping it for the right one. Not me, but I have seen a teacher yell at a kid who was crying from a panic attack or something to stop being a baby. My freshman year of high school, my health teacher made me give her massages whenever she asked for them. Kids nowadays make me work. It's the teacher's fault I didn't learn the material and did badly. Had my nose and mouth duct taped closed in front of the whole class. Pulling white hairs from her head